Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the midweek Bible study for the East Allen County Church of Christ. I hope you're having a great week. And tonight I just want to share with you a brief idea about what it is for us to be God's people in this world. It comes with a tremendous responsibility. And one of the parts of that responsibility are doing the very best we can at whatever we do. Obviously, I'm talking about things that honor God, that with our daily lives. It's obvious that in worship, I believe, if you study your Bible, that we should worship Him appropriately and according to His will. It's also true that outside of our community worship, our communal worship, that we also do things to the best of our ability to glorify Him, to bring honor to His name. It doesn't matter what we're doing. We should do our very best as if we're doing it for God. And we need to understand that, of course, we are. The prophet Isaiah writes in Isaiah 5, verses 1 through 7, "Let me sing now for my well-beloved, excuse me, a song of my beloved concerning his vineyard. My well-beloved had a vineyard on a fertile hill. He dug it all around, removed its stones, and planted it with the choicest vine. And he built a tower in the middle of it, and also hewed out a wine vat in it. Then he expected it to produce good grapes, but it produced only worthless ones. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more was there to do for my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why, when I expected it to produce good grapes, did it produce worthless ones? So now let me tell you what I'm going to do to my vineyard. I will remove its hedge, and it will be consumed. I will break down its wall, and it will be trampled to the ground. I will lay it waste. I will not be pruned or hoed, but briars and thorns will come up. I will also charge the clouds to rain, no rain on it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his delightful plant. Thus he looked for justice, but behold bloodshed, for righteousness, but behold a cry of distress." I apologize for the glitches in my reading. One of the things that God expects of His people is that we live our lives well. And that doesn't just mean correctly in the sense that we get it legally right, but we live it in a way that is doing the very best that we can. You can do something on your job and get it done down to the detail of saying that you did something. But did you really get it done to the very best of your ability? And that's the difference in what God is saying. And the thing is, God doesn't accept fractions. He's not going to take 3/4 effort and call that good. If you and I don't give our best, He will absolutely decline to honor that work. He will absolutely decline to accept that from us. We are stewards, and a lot of people don't exactly know what a steward is. But we're entrusted with the care of things that belong to someone else, in our case, to God. Paul writes, stewards are to be faithful in 1 Corinthians 4:2. The word doesn't just infer itself to our belief in God, but faithful means we can be counted upon. Isn't it a wonderful thing to believe in your life that God counts on you to do whatever it is you're supposed to be doing? That God looks at you and He says, that's my child, that's my daughter, that's my son, and they're going to do well. I know they're going to do well. They're going to do well because that's what my children do. And so wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if God looked at you and your life and said, that's exactly what I want. That's what I want my child to do, and that's what I want my child to be. So in our relationship, we should be dependable. We don't want to be workers that will be ashamed, as Paul writes in 2 Timothy 2:15. I don't want God to come to my life, and He's already here, of course, but I don't want in the final judgment for my life to be brought up and it to be something that brings shame to God. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be sins I've been forgiven of. I'm not saying that the blood of Christ has not had to be employed in my life on multiple occasions. But what I am saying is that in the final analysis, when God looks at my life, I am forgiven. I am clean by the blood of Christ. And my efforts, my work, my labor for Him is something that He looks at and finds profitable for my having been here and Him entrusting salvation to me. In 2 Corinthians 12:15, Paul wrote to those brethren, he said, I will most gladly spend and be spent for your souls. I will give myself up for your souls. I am the fuel, the fodder, the element that God will look to and expend to help you. And I'll make myself available to do that. God will accept my voluntary effort, and He will magnify it, multiply it, strengthen it, build it up to be what it needs to be. But it's got to start with us. Too many people today think that their relationship with God is something that they're just going to play with. They don't use those terms many times, but that is what they mean. Their faith is a hobby. Their faith is a recreation, and when it's no longer convenient, they're somewhere else. And we find people like this quite often, people who don't take their faith seriously, and so as a result, we find that they're nowhere to be found when they need to have a relationship with God. So today, I just want to encourage you to be that person upon whom God depends and can depend. Live your life on a day-to-day basis so that in relative comparison to what the world is willing to offer, that when God looks at you, He says, my child did the very best that could be done in that circumstance. And I know what they had. I know the resources they received. And so therefore, I'm going to credit them with the virtue of success in this moment. Look to your life and look in your spiritual mirror and make sure that your life is where it should be. Make sure that your efforts are the best effort. It takes constant reevaluation for us to improve and to get stronger. So I pray that you're doing this in your life, and I hope that as you do this, you will find yourself rewarded with a stronger person, a stronger life that God would want you to have. Have a wonderful week. God bless you. If you can come see us, do so and communicate with us if you have any questions. Have a great day.